Okay, so my plan here is to go over some of my write-ups and summaries that I've done, and we can look at the picture together. I can talk about what I saw, why I saw, etc. Um, and we will go over one, two, three. We will go over 9 different pictures, and then talk about support trend lines, resist trend lines, pinches, breakouts, retests, and points of interest. Points of interest is where something is likely to happen, where it's like it can test a support line, it can test a resistance line. There's many things that can happen when it gets into that zone. So I guess let's get right into the first one. So number 1 picture is right here. And I know it's a lot to look at first. To me, it makes a lot of sense because I've been doing this for a while. To you, it might not. So I'm going to kind of break it down and talk about it. Let me see. Where's my write-up? Okay, so here's what I had written up here. This was an interesting pinch setup and trade. I had identified a larger time frame support trend line, which is going to be this guy down here on the 15-minute chart, and a shorter term resistance trend line on the 2-minute chart, which was up here. So this is my resistance trend line going down, support trend line going up. The setup for pinch was being respected as the range continued to get tighter and tighter. Eventually, a big move was going to happen, but which direction? The stock broke above my resistance trend line near the end of the pinch and made its move up. I also had the moving average 50, the 50 MA, which is this blue line right here, working as another form of support. And then here's the chart with information. So, unfortunately, I can't like zoom out and show you the bigger picture of this chart, but it looks like this was an uptrending move, and this larger time frame trend line started like way down here somewhere, and this was a top that I identified, and it started to come down. So as you can see, this range was being respected all the way up until almost the end. What I'm waiting for, and this is how you kind of practice being patient, is waiting for the right setup, waiting for the play. You don't want to get in something too early, too soon. You want to wait for it to match your plan. So, uptrend support, trend line identified. Downtrend support, trend line identified. We're going into the pinch. Entry point, break of resistance trend line. So this candle opened above, and that tells me that we have broken this. And remember earlier I discussed points of interest? There's 3 things that can happen at a point of interest. Well, number 1, it can just completely break out and explode up. Number 2, it can break, it can retest, and then continue. And number 3, it can just reject and come down. What I like to do is I like to see a break, a retest, and a continuation. And it looks like this one I just kind of went for it. I got in here, I probably got a little bit of red, and then it took off. So what else did I write in here? Tight pinch, explosive move soon, up or down? I chose up because of the resist trend line break, and I had the MA50 supporting me. So this blue line right here was also kind of in my favor for upside. If it would have came down, it probably would have tested that and then gone up. So once I have, you know what, let me get some water real quick. Okay. Once my trade is in the green, I like to prioritize safety. So once I have some breathing room up, I can just, this is my position right here. What I can do is click the chart and then just drag up like two, just like when I'm like $2 ahead. That way I don't see red. If it kicks me out and the setup is still valid, I can consider re-entering. But what I kind of prioritize safety first. I don't want to see a green trade go red. So yeah, I can just move this up a little bit, and then once it gives me more breathing room, I can follow it. And that's what this is. My safety stop is in place. Let's see if this thing can take off. My first target would have been the VWAP, and you can also see the 200 MA is kind of stacking on that. So there's very likely that that's going to be a resistance point where we're going to see some rejection or continuation. It's just a point of interest. Keyword point of interest. I want you guys to remember that point of interest. That's where something is going to happen. It looks like there's no point of interest up until this, so it's like pretty much free to go. Besides this resistance, close. It breaks this, free. So much free room. What broker is this? This is futures, and this is Project X. Is this broker? So yeah, my first target would have been the VWAP. That's the next point of interest. After that, the next point of interest is a resistance level that I had drawn from doing homework the previous night. So that's my first one I wanted to go over. My first write-up, first picture. We can discuss or we can continue if you guys have any questions. Where is your take profit? My first take profit target, first target is the VWAP, which would have been right here. I entered down here at the break. I wanted to see it to go up here. However, my safety stop is in place in case for some random reason it comes down. Okay, I will move on to number 2. Okay, here is my second write-up, summary picture write-up. I was able to identify both an uptrend and a downtrend where this could either break up or break down. The tricky thing here is that there was a 20 moving average also close by, which is this red line right here. So if the move was down, it could potentially be a smaller move. So like the reward would have been small because there's potential. This is another point of interest where something's going to happen. It could have broken this uptrend, just touched this, and continued up. So that would have been a pretty small reward. So I had to wait. I had to wait for this to also break, for this play to work out. I had to wait for a break of a direction and a continuation confirmation. Once I was able to establish both of these, it looked like down was the move, and this thing seriously did break downwards. Okay, so that's my write-up, and then my picture. So I was able to identify an uptrend here, and there was a top here where it decided to start coming down. So downtrend identified here, just match up the wicks, down, 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 up, 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 up. And what we have is another pinch setup where it can either break up or break down. Uptrend was broken on this candle here. It opened underneath my support trend line. But this is tricky with the 20 moving average being so close, so I had to wait for confirmation. So we tested it. Looks like we just kind of bounced up and down here for a little bit. Next candle broke underneath. Confirmation. Enter my short position. So I bought, looks like a confirmation came down. I bought down here and continuation confirmed down here. Safety stop. Once I got breathing room, my safety is in place because I like to be safe instead of be red. If it kicks me out, whatever. If the setup is still valid, I can re-enter. And my first target would have been support level. Also, looks like the 50 MA was about matching with that. So this is the next, this would be the next point of interest where something's going to happen. And then just kind of let it go, let it ride, let it play out and see what happens. So that is number 2. You are looking at the 5-minute chart. How do you identify which stock to trade the day before? So with futures, I'm only looking at one ticker. That's the MNQ, which is also QQQ on normal stock market. I'm only looking at one ticker all day, which is kind of convenient. I just watch this all day. I don't need to watch a large watch list of, 10, 15, 20 things. I just stick to this only, and I trade this only. I play trend lines, I play breakouts, I play retests. I'm constantly just scanning for setups. So, this is number 2. If we want to talk about it at all, or if we can continue, we can continue. All right, we will continue. Number 3. Let's pull up number 3. Okay, this is kind of a crappy picture only because of I did this on my phone. I did this on my phone. It was nighttime. It was probably like 10 p.m. or something, and I was just randomly watching the market, and I saw an opportunity here. So, Lee Rhodes. I don't want to look at that right now because I just want to focus on doing this presentation and sharing stuff. So I'm not going to look at like charts and stuff right now. Okay, so number 3. I did this trade on my phone. This chart is another similar example to the others where I was able to identify an uptrend, a strong VWAP break, and a retest for entry. This thing exploded up shortly after, and I had to trim some position almost immediately to lock in on this big move. Very happy with this one. Okay, so what we had here, and from having like experience so much of identifying these kind of uptrends and downtrends, I know this isn't wick to wick, but I could still, the uptrend is still obvious. It's still valid. Uptrend setup, downtrend setup, also VWAP being in play here. This is a very, very big point of interest right here. A lot of things can happen. I have a lot of MAs are kind of stacked, as well as VWAP, and just had to be patient and wait. So let's see, uptrend move here, uptrend, 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 resistance downtrend here, down, 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 down. I had a strong break of the VWAP, look for a retest, enter. Strong move above the VWAP, the 50 moving average, and the 20 moving average. So unfortunately this white line kind of blocks this candle, but this was a pretty good sized candle. Like it's not just kind of like floating around and then slowly breaking. It was a strong momentum candle, and the next candle it came down, retested, and then it blasted off. So this is one of the three options I told you about: break, retest, move, or just break, or just reject. And those are the three options to always consider when you're at a point of interest. Yeah, this thing really blasted off. I got in, so it looks like I got in here, and even on that move, being up already like 500 bucks, 450 bucks in a matter of minutes, like I gotta lock some of that in. So that is number 3, and these are one of the advantages, things that I like about futures is that it's open like almost 20, like 21, 22 hours a day. So I just had a night trade, and this set me up to be pretty green on the next trading session. Being up already that much is like, cool, tomorrow's going to be lightweight, easy stuff. Okay, number 3 is done. Let's talk about number 4. Okay, this is number 4. This is a larger chart. Um, I don't think, okay, I actually don't think I traded this, but it was just a setup that is a reason why it's important to have these kind of like levels, support levels, resistance levels. It's important to do your homework to that, so that way you're setting you up for success the next day. You don't want to go into the market blind and not have these levels kind of charted out, because when you're in something, you want to have a plan. You want to have an exit target. You want to have you don't want to just be in something and then just, okay, now what? So let's see. I pulled up the M&Q chart and found this setup. I drew this out within 5 minutes. This is what a properly organized setup chart looks like when you do your homework. You need to set yourself up for success. All right. So what did I have here? I had a top here, and I had another second point here. Resistance trend line identified, top here. Resistance trend line second point identified here. And when you draw your lines, there's a setting to have it just continue all the way to the infinity, pretty much. So what's going to happen here, pretty much? What's going to happen here? I need a candle to open above for a breakout. Let me see if I can zoom in here. What's going to happen here? Need a candle to open above for a breakout. The candle opened underneath, rejection, downside. So this resistance trend line is still valid and accurate. So this would have been an opportunity to go short because this got rejected. And if you did go short, well, now what? What is your target? Your target would be the next support line that you drew, or just a point of interest. See, like it touched the MA here and kind of rebounded here also. It touched this. Looks like it just kind of broke through, played around, touched the 20 MA again, and came down. So you just kind of hold. You have choices to make. You just hold through it and you set your target down here, or you can trim on the way down, set your safety stop at break even, and then let it ride. So you have choices to make here. The resistance trend line rejection target would be the next support level drawn out from doing homework. And look at this. It came down to my support and bounced off of it. So it would have hit target, the next support line, and this would have been an exit take profit zone. And it bounced off of it and continued up. And that's why it's important to have these levels on your chart so that you have ideas where to exit, where to take profit, stuff like that. So this is number 4. Get another water. All right, let's continue. Number 5. This was one that I actually did play, but I took the picture afterwards to show you guys what this looks like. This is a point of interest. Looks like this is a perfect example of what a break, retest for entry, and continuation play looks like. This was a key uptrend support level that got broken and then dropped hard afterwards. So I believe I plotted this out on a larger time frame, like a 15-minute, and we absolutely broke through it, retest, and then continued down heavily. And just to kind of visualize that for you, this would be a support line, a point of interest. This is what a break, retest for entry, continuation looks like. This is like a textbook example of how this looks. So this one, we don't really need to spend too much time on. It's just more of an example of things that I like to trade, things that I like to look for when I am watching the market. I like to look for points of interest, and I look for one of those 3 things that I discussed earlier is going to happen: break, retest, continuation, break, continuous, just break, or touch and rebound. And this one is just a break, retest, continuation. That one's a very simple, easy one. That's number 5. Let's go look at number 6. How did you get that top support line? Okay, which one? Are we talking about, like, up here? Number 4. That was for number 4. Okay, let me see. How did I get the top support line? Are you talking about this one right here? So this I probably had from the night before when I was doing homework, and it looks like it got kind of invalidated multiple times throughout the day. So these are lines that I get at like 8 p.m. my time, and then the next day, um, I just kind of watch and see if it's still valid or if I need to delete it. And it looks like in this case, I probably should have just deleted it because it got broken here, it got broken here. I guess it sort of got respected here, but I probably should have just deleted it. This one up here was pretty valid. I like to look at the body of the candle and where the top of the body ends. That's how I kind of do my supports and resistances. Yeah, I could see I could see how, like, sometimes having these lines will mess you up, and they can just be something that's in the way and noise. So I would say, like, throughout the day, if your support or resistance line just keeps just getting broken, blasted through, just delete it. Take it off your screen. It's not valid anymore. Okay, so I think we can continue. We just did number 5. Let's do number 6. Let's see what number 6 is. Number 6. This is what finding an entry opportunity in a strong uptrending day looks like. Market was very bullish and it broke through a resistance level that I had marked. It retested and then it continued upwards. I was able to pull the trigger on an entry point and continue riding the move up. So this is pretty much the same as number 5, where it's like that same pattern. Here's your resistance line, here's your break, here's your retest, here's your continuation. This made an just insane strong move. It didn't even care about VWAP. It just blasted through everything. And these are one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to chase this. I'm not going to buy this top. It's just, to me, it just doesn't make sense to buy the top and then hope. What you want to do is you want to wait. You want to wait for any kind of dip opportunities, any dip setups. And it looks like I had this resistance level plotted earlier. Broke through it, no problem. But this is a point of interest. This is going to be something that you can make a play off of, get some kind of entrance in. It would have either rejected resistance, came back down, it would break, retest, continue, or just blast off. And this is textbook of a break, retest, entry continuation. What I have here is, oh, I think this is the 1 minute because I wanted to get an entrance, so I was looking at the 1 minute for a retest. If I was stuck on the 15, it would have just been a big body that continues going. So I saw the break and I'm like, I want to get in this. I want to join this. And retest, continuation. That's entry right there. Looks like once I had some breathing room in the upward direction, I put my safety and I set my next target at the next. This is a massive, massive gap. Next target would be the next point of interest. In general, what EMAs, MACDs do you use in your chart setups? I use VWAP. VWAP is the yellow. I use MAs. I use MA20, which is red. I use MA50, which is blue. And I use MA200, which is white. I use VWAP, MAs, and that's it. VWAP, MAs, support levels, resistance levels, trend lines, trend lines. I do not use MACD. I do not use RSI. I use the things that I just said. And that's working out for me. It works. Yeah, so that's number 6. If there's any questions, comments, or we can continue. But this is number 6. We got about 3 more or 4 more. Also, water break. How do you find the take profit? The take profit is going to be the next point of interest. And point of interests are resistance lines, support lines, MAs, VWAPs. Those are support lines, or those are point of interests. Those are exit targets, trim targets, entry targets. That's how I find next level. The keyword that I want you guys to remember here after this presentation is point of interest. Things happen at point of interest. Things like rejections, breakouts, retests, continuations, point of interest. I want you guys to remember that. And we will move on to number 7. Can you cover point of interest one more time, please? Maybe later. All right, number 7. This is an interesting one because I was actually in a loser and I was able to change my bias for. I'll just read the thing. Here's how I was able to quickly change my bias and join the correct direction after being in a losing trade. I had a support trend line drawn that was being respected so far, which is this one right here. I had a support, the bottom of a support started here, got tested here, continued up, got tested here. I had a support line drawn that was being respected so far, so I chose to go long on a touch and test of the line right here. This ended up doing back and forth small movements until the next 5-minute and 15-minute candle opened beneath the trend line, which would be this guy right here. That is bad news for me. So what I was able to do next is set an exit of my long position just a pinch above my entry and exit break even. And then change to shorts at the retest of that same trend line. This play worked out perfectly. The stock dropped to my next drawn out trend line for exit. All right, so that's kind of what happened here, and I will talk about the picture now. Support trend line identified here. Boom, boom, boom. Respected here. This is still valid. I enter for longs at a test of this. We just kind of fart around here. We don't continue up. And then 5 minutes goes by. Next candle opened underneath. And this was on both the 5-minute and 15-minute time frame. So that is bearish. This is going to break down now. It opened underneath my trend line. So I think my entry point was like right here. So I set a stop, or I set an exit on longs just like a small pixel above my position to get out even, and that happened either right here or no, it happened here. So I got out on my long, and then I watched, and next candle pushed up to retest that. This was my entry for shorts, a rejection. I wanted to see a rejection here. So I'm in shorts here, and it worked out, came down. This would be the first point of interest where you can decide to trim or hold for the next target. This is the next point of interest, would be the trend line, the other support trend line test right here. So I got short here, first point of interest here, second point of interest here. And I know this support line here kind of combined with the VWAP, so I would not be like, okay, I broke VWAP, now I got to break this. I kind of treated them as the same spot. Drop, exit target at the next support trend line perfectly, right here. So I went long here, did not work out, was able to exit even, then I went short here to come down. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, number 7. Let's take a look at number 8. Okay, number 8. Number 8, here we go. Here's how I was able to find a bottom of the day and spot an entry point for long after a VWAP break right here and retest. I was looking at the 15-minute chart and noticed that we touched and bounced off of the 200 moving average here. We touched it right here and then continued up. I believe this was kind of like a downtrending day, and this 200 moving average was just slowly making its way up to meet it, touch it. So that would have been a point of interest when they touch right here. Next, we had a higher low that gave me a sign of uptrend. Higher low right here. Support trend line spotted. Starts here, second connection here, and then this just continues. Next, we had a higher low that gave me a sign of uptrend, and I was able to draw the support trend line. On that same candle was the strong VWAP break, so I was convinced that this name is now very bullish. When we break above VWAP and hold above VWAP, the name is bullish. We are now we are now moving above VWAP. When we are moving beneath VWAP, we are bearish, downside. When we finally break VWAP and go above, we are bullish, upside. Okay, I was convinced that this name is now very bullish. Now, to find an entry point. I had 3 red candles in a row that gave me a resistance trend line. 1, 2, 3. So this is the top continuation. Once you connect 2 dots, the line continues forever. It was respected, and what we had next is a VWAP test. All right, 3 red candles in a row gave me a resistance trend line, and we were headed back to VWAP for a retest. The next candle opened above, right here. The next candle opened above that resistance trend line, as well as a VWAP support touch combination. This is my entry for long. Once I am in the trade, I targeted the recent high, the top of the resistance trend line, as my exit point, and this target hit perfectly. So that's the write-up. Let's talk about the chart. So I had my 200 MA that was just kind of slowly making its way up, and the stock slowly making its way down. Here was the touch. Bounced off of it, went up, came down again, and continued up. So these are where I was able to identify an uptrend in this name. Point A, point B, continues. And this strong candle just broke right through VWAP, doesn't care. It broke through, continued up. Eventually you found some resistance here. This is the recent high, this is a resistance point, and we came back down. We got a retest of VWAP here. We got a break of my resistance trend line also. Candle opened above resistance trend, VWAP retest. VWAP turned into support, long entry. Yeah, so entry here, and then once I'm in, what's my target? My target would be that recent high. Exit target, previous high. Hit perfectly, and then it got rejected immediately after. So that's why you like to you set your target, and you can follow with a winning stop loss. And once you get into the next point of interest, you have choices. You can have that safety stop very close, just in case a rejection like this happens, or you can give it breathing room, or you can have it down here at break even and see if you get, a lot more move. Me personally, I just like to follow. I like to follow it, but give it breathing room. Yeah, and we just rejected, bounced around some more. So that worked out really well. How did you know that the recent high was the top there? It's considered a recent high because the wick. For some reason, it got rejected here. So that's where I'm going to put a brand new line. I'm going to put a brand new resistance line right there because for some reason here it just decided to sell off and come down. So now that I'm in, that's going to be my first take profit target, is that high. I don't know why I got rejected here, because this line was not here when I did my homework, but it's here now. So that's my first target. You got to consider just recent highs for resistance when you are in a trade. Recent highs are something to pay attention to when you enter like longs or shorts, or like, yeah, recent lows. Like if this was to break down, I would probably have this as my first take profit target for downside. So that's how I got that. It'd be this, and either this or this would be a take profit number 2. All right, so that's number 8. We will continue. What time frame is this? I'm guessing this is either the 5 or the 15. I think this is the 15-minute. I like to use the 5-minute and the 15-minute the most. Those are my most common time frames that I use. I like to kind of see a bigger picture of things. The 1-minute, 2-minute, those are not as reliable and strong as like a 5 or a 15. Those, you get more valid trend lines and resistances when you do higher time frames. All right, let's look at number 9. Okay, we have a lot going on here. Sorry in advance. Number 9. Here's what I had this morning on MNQ. Morning market dip and ripped back up to give me a strong break of VWAP and a rejection of a 1-hour upper channel trend line. Let's see, where was this rejection? Looks like it was right here. Came back down to retest VWAP and bounced. This is an entry point for longs. I set my target at the next resistance level and my safety stop just underneath the break of upper channel trend line. So I had, on larger time frame, I had a channel, an upper trend line channel from previously over here that you can't see, and lower trend line channel from over here that you can't see. And it looks like we had 1 hour lower channel time frame support combo. Oh, okay, this support line from homework that I had, and this 1 hour trend line that I had drawn. So we touched that and bounced up heavily. Strong VWAP break. Didn't care about it, broke through it. And this was the upper channel of this 1 hour trend line. So this is the resistance of that channel. Got rejected, came back down, retest of the VWAP here, entry point. And it looks like I entered late. What is homework? An analysis of the chart on a bigger time frame. Homework is basically like every night around like 7 or 8 p.m. my time, California. I like to kind of clear out my chart from like the previous trading day or 2 trading days and kind of set brand new levels. I call it homework. That's what homework is to me. And I find homework is important to set me up for success the next day. Set me up for going into a chart with valid support lines, trend lines, resistance lines. I call it homework. So entry point of VWAP would have been here. I decided for some reason to just, I entered late. I entered here. Let's see. So this is my position. It looks like I got 7 here, late entry, but I guess I chased. Once I have breathing room, let's raise my trailing winning stop, and I put it just below the break of that upper trend line. So this thing continued and broke through. Safety stop goes here, right underneath it. Because if we break through, this is going to be another point of interest. Break through, we might get a retest and then continuation. So I want my stop underneath that retest. I don't want it right at the retest. I get kicked out and then it continues without me. So I just put it right underneath and hopefully get to stay in this play for the next point of interest, resistance level. Next resistance level, exit, take profit target.